Gravity is not a physical force, but an effect, centrifugation on 5 levels. So let's re-summarize the subject of gravity into its 2 natures. 1. Gravitation is electromagnetism through the spheres of cosmic bodies, which have their own axes of rotation and in whose cores or shells there is one of 3 permanent magnets, iron, nickel and cobalt, or all 3. If a body does not contain ferromagnetic chemical elements in its core, or even any 2 chemical elements, one of which is significantly heavier, then this body is a soap bubble in the cosmos. In order for a large celestial body to start rotating on its axis, it must first fall into an orbit of rotation around another body. Such a body with one element of its core and other elements that are its shell, when it enters the orbit of rotation around another body, becomes a dynamo, in that the core of the body simultaneously occupies the position of a hammer that moves around a larger cosmic body with all other elements of its envelope, which, namely the envelope, enters into a double rotation, both around its core and with its core around the larger cosmic body, around which the body rotates around its core in the role of a hammer. Since a celestial body with a core of a permanent magnet and some covering becomes a dynamo, it becomes, therefore, an autonomous creator of its electromagnetic field. The nuclei of large celestial bodies are always the center of the family in their local relationships. In atoms, therefore, asteroids, as boulders of the same material, comets and the so-called stellar nebulae made of one gas do not have electromagnetism in the spheres, that is, there is no force that we call gravity. Because only a body in rotation, around its core or sheath made of a permanent magnet, becomes a dynamo, the creator of his electromagnetic field. The further development of the situation in such a body is such that some of its atoms and compounds can become charged with electromagnetic force, while some atoms of some of its chemical elements cannot. 2. So-called gravity, like spherical magnetism, belongs to the physics of large and small cosmic bodies, and the gravity that is under the control of dark mass is astrophysics from one perspective, but obviously metaphysics from another perspective. This second so-called gravity is only metaphysics, behind physics, because it cannot be experimentally demonstrated and proved, but not as if it were a transcendental speculation, philosophy. She is real. The relationships between stars, planetary systems, and galaxies are relationships of bodies based on primary motion in the cosmos. This is circulating. There the galaxies fall under the rule of the dark mass of the 11th energy form. This control between galactic distances can also be seen as the simultaneous existence of a general action of centrifugal and centripetal forces. The way we imagine these 2 forces. But the so-called centrifugal force is not a force that can be further used for something, but is the result of the energy already invested in this basic movement in the cosmos, and around. The so-called centrifugal force is nothing more than the non-firing of an arrow from a bow or the non-firing of a weapon, rifle, etc. Energy is invested when the bow is stretched. After that, if desired, the release of the invested energy follows, then the arrow flies out, and the centrifugal force in the cosmos is already the invested energy of the hammer thrower, who does not release the hammer by throwing it, but holds it. That on a metal rope. The planets, around which the satellites orbit, are actually hammer throwers, which do not release the hammers, but keep them at distances, from which the hammers do not necessarily fall on the planets. Gases that do not fall on the ground of the planet cannot even leave its electromagnetic field. Because escaping from a polarized planet requires an investment of energy. And the gases don't have enough energy to escape. By centrifugal force we mean something that is simply the effect of the energy invested in a hammer or, for example, a metal sieve for squeezing laundry in a washing machine, and is not one of the 9 simple energies. Because it cannot be used for any other type of work. Centripetal force is not even an effect. From centrifugation there is a result of some work, we have obvious evidence, but for internal rotation, centrifugation, I don't know a single example as an effect of energy input. Since centrifugal force, as a force that pushes something outward from the center of rotation, of a body in rotation, does not exist, it makes even less sense to imagine a force that pushes something toward the center of a rotating body through rotation. The effect of investing energy in the rotation of the body is called centrifugation and is visible. A counter effect that can be called counterfugation, which, well, doesn't even have a name, can't be noticed, registered, documented. We can say that the centripetal result never exists, neither when there is no rotation nor when there is rotation. As for the position of the Sun in our galaxy, I can say that it, the galaxy, makes the core of the Sun appear like a hammer rotating around the center of the galaxy. Why did I write so much here about the so-called centrifugal and centripetal forces, which are not forces? Because gravity is not a force, but an effect. Quantum of the astrophysicists look for the graviton as proof of the existence of gravity, the attraction of celestial and terrestrial bodies. In the 8th part of this volume, How the Cosmos Was Created, it can be seen that this entire volume is a seemingly complicated explanation of all possible connections and phenomena in the cosmos, to explain whether gravity is a force that exists. I claim they don't exist. I can make several claims and questions about gravity as a cosmic phenomenon. 2 claims. Earth's gravity is a permanent nullification of planetary centrifugation. B. Gravity as a cosmic phenomenon is essentially centrifugation on 5 levels. C. Why does the ratio of large bodies in the sphere of influence of planets, stars, constellations and galaxies not change, and the cosmos expands? First question. Remember that the washing machine drum has holes, through which dirty water is removed by centrifugation, and clean water is removed from the laundry at the end of the washing process, so the laundry dries faster afterwards. What happens in the machine? Clean water is removed from the laundry during the washing process, so the laundry dries faster afterwards. What happens in the machine? The current drives the motor, which at first slowly rotates the drum of the machine. When washing clothes, the machine program adds extra power to the motor, that the drum rotates quickly and very quickly at the end of the program, to drain the water from the laundry. Now let's recap. Is centrifugation a physical force? She is not that. The spinning of the washing machine is the result of the role of electricity in the operation of the motor that rotates the drum. Now, if we wrap the drum in thin plastic wrap, will the electrical energy from the rotation of the drum drive the water out of the drum? Will not. In this case, is the plastic wrap a physical force? She is not that. Analogous to this case, the centrifugation of the Sun is an effect that cancels out the centrifugation of planet Earth, an effect we call gravity. And the centrifugation of the Sun does not allow us easily to climb the hill or the stairs to the 10th floor of the building. The elevator, through the investment of electricity, overcomes the centrifugation of the Sun. 2. And so the centrifugation of the Sun stands in relation to the centrifugation of the Earth. 3. The centrifugation of the constellations in relation to the centrifugation of the Sun. 4. Galactic centrifugation in relation to constellation centrifugation. 5. Centrifuging the cosmos versus centrifuging the galaxy. And finally, there is no counter-centrifugation to the centrifugation of the cosmos, and the cosmos expands through nothingness. Because there is no resistance to the centrifugation of the cosmos. We have said that nothing can arise from emptiness, but everything can arise in emptiness. Especially when emptiness is limitless. Remember that dark matter, ether, is the 11th form of energy in the cosmos, maintaining relationships between large cosmic bodies and nebulae that do not belong to any galaxy or constellation and do not have their own axis of rotation, to have their own electromagnetic fields. In addition to the idea of gravity as magnetism through spheres, I had the idea of magnetism through transversals. Then I wavered, because such gravity cannot be imagined as cosmic vector rays. If one imagined them as wave rays, one would eventually have to imagine them in the form of divergent rays. And that would mean that infinity is opening up and something is constantly sending out such waves. From what source? If such a force pushed one galaxy away from another, it would simultaneously push toward a third. Perhaps we could accept that, but only if we believed that the solar system was the center of the cosmos. Because even Edwin Hubble saw that all galaxies are moving away from us. I don't know if that's true. For my explanation of general gravity in the cosmos, I still believe that dark matter of the 11th form of energy and the ether are one and the same.